Good morning. Let me start by thanking my supporters, especially my family, my wife Lisa, my son Jack, David, and Caitlin. You all know how passionate I am about serving our community, our state of Minnesota, and our country. I believe that conservative values has served us well, especially as it relates to personal accountability and personal responsibility. I also believe that the Republican Party represents the values that I honor. I respect the selection process, and the convention is an important part of that process. But allowing everyone to vote on who they want to represent is part of democracy. The entire voting public deserves the opportunity to make the decision. This year, a fatally flawed candidate has emerged. He is a candidate that does not live in Minnesota's 2nd congressional district, yet he wants to decide how to spend our tax dollars. That is a typical Washington, D.C. style thinking. I don't live amongst you, but I want to represent you. This candidate walked off his radio show in progress, stated that he no longer wanted to participate in the system, no longer wanted to pay taxes. He started Galt.io. He claimed on John Stossel's TV program that he has raised upwards of $700,000. Now, in less than 2 years, that website, that program is in jeopardy of being shuttered. I hope the media will ask, where is the money, Jason? Where is the money? Even I invested in his snake oil scheme, and there has been no accounting of what happened to hundreds of thousands of dollars under his control. I urge you to investigate Galt.io. I'm a public figure. I have to answer to comments that I made as mayor, as senator, and as a citizen, and I'm willing to do so. In this political election cycle, you have candidates like Hillary Clinton saying that she wants to put the coal miners in West Virginia out of work, and that she wants to put the coal mine owners out of business. Now Hillary claims that those words were taken out of context. So I ask, in what context did she meant those words? In Minnesota, you have Jason Lewis saying, if you don't like slavery, then don't own one, but don't tell other people they can't. In what context do you think owning another human being is defensible, especially given the fact that we actually have human trafficking in Minnesota? A very troubling and serious issue. When questioned about it, Mr. Lewis just laughs. Now, have I mentioned that Jason Lewis is a fatally flawed candidate? He does not represent the values of the good people of Minnesota's 2nd congressional district. Darlene Miller, the establishment's choice, lacks the knowledge and experience to get the job done. As a Minnesota State Senator, I did not walk in lockstep with the Republican leadership. I am part of a team, but when the leadership does the wrong thing, especially for the wrong reason, you must challenge it. I have been in meetings where decisions have been made based on how much contributions the party was going to get decided the issue, rather than what was right for everyone involved, and I challenged it. In the past, leadership has told me to quit fighting the party. My response was, I'm not fighting the party, I'm trying to save the party. Well, here we are again. No other candidate has a plan to deal with the national debt. After the convention, I asked my team one question. Election aside, what can we do to have the biggest impact on educating the public on the national debt and actually doing something significant to reduce it? The conclusion was by getting elected to Congress. That is how to make the biggest impact. To accomplish this, one needs resources. Now, the bills of my campaign are paid to date, and we still have over $600,000 cash on hand. You must have an organization. You must have name recognition. In the rural areas, they know me as the person who was the chief author of the hot dish bill that allowed churches to continue serving meals without interference from the government. In the suburban and metro area, I'm known as the yellow flashing arrow guy. I carried the bill that allows left-hand turns at intersections on a yellow flashing arrow when no one is coming the other direction. It saves you fuel, and it saves you your most precious thing, time. And so I guarantee you the next time you're sitting at a yellow flashing arrow, you're going to say, it's not who, it's how. And finally, you must have a compelling reason for someone to vote for you. I believe I'm the most electable conservative candidate. I guarantee you that no one is going to work harder. My experience as mayor helped me be a better senator, and being senator is going to help me be a better congressman. Being elected as a U.S. representative is a 2-year term. Minnesota needs a person who understands the system and can hit the ground running. Therefore, I am announcing my intentions to run in the primary for the United States Congress on the Republican ticket. Not only do I have the experience, I'm the only one offering solutions. We must examine our tax expenditures and reform our tax system. The last major tax changes happened over 30 years ago. Every new tax expenditure should have a sunset provision in it, and we should examine current ones to see if they are justified and achieving their purpose. We must dedicate resources to reducing our debt, not just servicing it. This will not be a traditional campaign. We are taking our messages to the local city halls, town villages, libraries, churches, schools, colleges, and other venues to educate the public about the fiscal crisis and what some of the solutions are to address it. Do you know what the fastest growing spending item is in the U.S. budget? When I ask that question, people respond, well, it's got to be Social Security. Some people say it's got to be military spending. Others think it's the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. It's spending on the U.S. national debt. It's interest. Interest on the U.S. national debt is the fastest growing spending program. We need to educate the public on this. Thank you for being here. I will now entertain any questions you may have.
John, why did you decide to take this step? Jason Lewis has gotten the endorsement. Darlene Miller has been endorsed by John Klein, who you all want to try to replace. Where do you see you fitting into this now, at least a three-way race?
Well, I know the governor was having a press conference, so you stepped in a little late. I called Jason Lewis a fatally flawed candidate, and I believe so. I believe some of the comments he's made and his past reputation in business he will be not elected in the general elected.
So you think in a primary, how is he going to do against a primary? Do you think the primary voters will be a lot different than the people at the endorsing convention?
Absolutely. I don't think the general public understands the convention process with the slates that were being ran. You had the Jason Gerson slates, you had the Jason Lewis slates, and so you can't boil it down to 180 people making a decision for 800,000 people. And I think the general public wants somebody who lives amongst them. It's fitting that today is tax day, and our family pays taxes in 3 of the counties that are represented in the 2nd, and Jason Lewis pays no taxes in the 2nd district.
And finally, do you take some comfort in the fact that endorsement has not always meant somebody's going to be successful? I mean, even Governor Dayton was not endorsed when he ran. It seems like in both parties, endorsement is not necessarily what ultimately gets you elected.
No, it isn't. I think people need to look beyond that and look at your whole body of work. Certainly, you've seen the last election cycle down even on the Republican side in CD1 that the endorsed candidate wasn't the person that was on the general election. And I can tell you, I visited with my wife Lisa, and if our name is on the general election ballot, we are willing to spend over $500,000 of our own money to win this election. So, part of that process is making sure that we have the most electable conservative candidate, and I believe I'm that person.
How expensive do you think the primary race would be?
Well, we're looking at that budget right now. Certainly, I would say if you're concerned about the national debt, regardless of your party affiliation, go to how.com and donate $25. It's going to take us 25 years to solve this debt issue that has built up over time. And so I'd ask you to donate to our campaign if you're motivated and you want to do something. the reason I'm running is right here. We're on the verge of handing over a bankrupt nation to our children and our grandchildren, and we need to do something about it immediately.
Do you support, Senator, earlier Jason Lewis called this whole bathroom bill, the whole transgender issue of transgender people using the bathroom of their choice, an abomination that that would be allowed. Do you agree with him, disagree with him, and do you see this kind of refining that whole issue that was just, fought in Minnesota about gay rights?
Well, I think that we can have common sense solutions, but I don't think Jason Lewis takes the matter seriously, and certainly I think there's, it's unfortunate that this issue has gotten blown out of proportion. I would say it's kind of a solution in search of a problem. Certainly we can address those issues, but I think he likes to throw the gas on the fire, and I don't think it's helpful.
Do you support Donald Trump now that he's the Republican nominee?
I'm in the ABH, anybody but Hillary Clinton, and so if it came down to that choice, I certainly would not be voting for Hillary Clinton.
Is that a concern in a district like the second and campaign year where it'll probably be?
You can see in the second district, I don't believe that Trump has widespread support. I think he'll be the lesser of two evils when people come to the ballot.
Are you concerned about the down ballot implications?
Certainly, I think that everybody should be concerned about that. I would caution people who've endorsed people that have made just horrible comments and do not. That's not going to help them get elected. The top of the ticket matters, and in CD2, this will be the premier race in southern Minnesota and the South Metro area, and I think people do need to be concerned about that.
But you support it? Is that just support Trump?
If it came down between Trump or Hillary Clinton, I'd have to vote for Trump. But like I said, it'd be the lesser of two evils.
Do you, Jason Lewis, do you see him as a Trump-like figure? You mentioned some of the provocative comments.
That's for other people to decide. I don't even think Trump has made the assertion that you could own another human being. The problem, I think, is consistency. Jason ran in Colorado as a pro-choice candidate. Now he's pro-life. Go back to 4 months ago to Bob Davis's podcast 404. Jason said he supported the Obama nuclear deal with Iran, and now he says he doesn't. So I think, not having consistency, unfortunately in politics, people say or do whatever to get elected, and that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to stand up and answer those questions and do so in a respectful manner.
So your differences with Trump, you said you have a lot of differences. What are the big ones? Is it tone? Is it?
Well, certainly it's a lot more than tone. I think that, he doesn't offer solutions. He just throws out flaming issues and speaks in little bits and pieces that doesn't add up to a consistent policy.
How are you set here for infrastructure for your campaign this weekend? When I tried getting hold of some of your people who were involved in the campaign, nobody was there. So.
Well, we do have a campaign organization and structure. Joe Meyer will certainly take your questions, and we did want to leave this press conference somewhat to open to whether I was going to run or not. Tom Hauser obviously got the information from someone, so that was good. But even the campaign staff, we came up with that solution that we need to get elected to make a difference, to be relevant, and we tried to keep this undercover as much as we could until today. Thank you.